Welcome to Consulting Mastery, where we help B2B consultants master the business of consulting. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Ahmed. Join us as we explore the art of delivering outstanding client value, earning a higher income, and thriving in today's marketplace. Here's a big question today. If you're an investor and somebody just like you with your business and your current operations and your revenue came to you and asked for money, would you invest? Why not? And what changes would you want to see in the business in order to justify your investment? That's what we're going to talk about here today on Consulting Mastery. Now, if you are a consultant and you're looking for help building pipeline, growing your business, refining your positioning, you want to find out if we can help you, go to 90daypipeline.com/talk, grab a call with our team, and we'll find out real quick. Carrie, I feel like there's a lot of potential consequences to asking this question. And perhaps the most useful thing to do is to take people through the kinds of things an investor might be looking for. Not because you're looking for investment. Frankly, if you run a professional service business, I don't know why you'd look for investors. That's a whole other conversation. We get people saying, oh, I'm looking for investors. That's a bad idea. Not going to go there today. Not because you're looking for investors, but because the questions that come up through that exercise are going to point out the gaps, the holes, the kinks in your armor that you can then work to resolve as a business owner.
Yeah, and let's be clear, like the goal here is really to create some level of objectivity, because what you are going to have I was going to say is what you can't do, but what you will have a really hard time doing, especially if you are a solopreneur, right? If you are the one person in your business, even if you're a small team, quite frankly, is being objective, because you are so deep in the weeds, and that's exactly where you need to be. But what we're going to do today is pull you back from that and have you look at your business from a bird's eye view, as if you're not part of it, and you will probably be very surprised at what you find. Yeah. So what do investors look for? Let's talk about it.
So let's go down the list. Question number one, if I'm an investor, is going to be, what's your go-to market strategy? And I'll explain that. I'm looking for, do you have a clear target market? Do you know what customers and clients you're going after, or are you trying to be all things to all people? Do you have clear positioning in that market? Do you have a strong claim of expertise? Do you have strong differentiation? Or do you look and sound like pretty much everybody else in your market? Right. So I'm lumping that into kind of go-to market. Who's your target market? Who are you going after? How are you positioned? What's your offer? How is it unique? I need to be convinced, right? Because again, as an investor, if I'm going to put my money into your business, I want to know that you have some kind of competitive edge over other businesses like you. And you probably should have said this at the outfront. You may not be looking for investment, but you are an investor, right? And refer back to our episode on why entrepreneurs should think like investors, or something to that effect. You are investing your time, your expertise, in some cases, your financial capital, your energy, et cetera, into the business. So you ought to think about it in these terms. So that's my first question is, do you have a go-to market strategy, or are you just taking on whatever clients or deals happen to come your way? And if it's the latter, I'm going to put my money elsewhere, right? Because the lack of a strategy tells me that as you grow, things are going to get very messy. Right? There's no strategy. There's no way to bring things back to first principles. There's no way to, grow in a cohesive, structured way. It's just all over the place. That's number one. My second question is going to be, how do you get clients? Right? Now everyone's uncomfortable. How do you get clients? Because as an investor, I want to know that you have a strategy, you have a system. Don't tell me that, referrals and word of mouth, that's not a strategy. Yeah, you can turn some of that into a strategy, but I don't care how much you try to systematize it. Referrals and word of mouth are going to be inconsistent, unpredictable, not scalable, because you don't have control over them. You don't have agency. There's nothing you can do this week or this month to double or triple the number of referrals you get. So to grow a business, invariably, you're going to have to attract more clients. And so as an investor, I want to know, what is your strategy to go out and attract more clients? And then I got a third question. And this I think rounds it out. These are the big three. The third one is, what's your talent plan? What's your capacity building plan? If you're going to grow a business and you're going to bring on more clients, then chances are you're not going to be able to service all of that demand if everything goes well. So how have you built things in order to scale? How have you structured your services such that you can bring on other people? Who are those people? What kind of talent will you be looking for? Where are you going to find them? And why should they come work with you? What's your strategy to scale your people? I say scale is a big word. It could be a matter of adding 1, 2, 3 people. But again, what's your strategy to grow beyond yourself, if that's the goal?
Well, and maybe just to refine that or back that up a little bit, because it's not always the goal, and that's fair, right? But do you have a model in place, a business model in place, a delivery model in place that is profitable where you are right now and can continue to be profitable, ideally more so, as you grow your book of business? And so whether that means how are you going to manage yourself if you're the key resource, or that means how are you going to add folks, then either way, I need to know that it's healthy. And I would add another, and this may loop back to something you said earlier, but do you have a track record of proven successful delivery? Can I see that you have, in fact, helped the clients that you've taken on solve the problem that they have in a way that has left them satisfied, better off than they were before? All the good things that come with actually doing the thing that you are setting out to do.
Yeah, it's a good one. Your client results. Show me the proof, the documented proof of the tangible outcomes and results you get for clients, not your opinion about how it went or your articulation of what they got, but their opinion, their articulation, from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Because if you can't prove to me that you've done it well on a smaller scale, well, it only gets more complicated at a larger scale. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Anything else?
I don't think so. So really 4 key things, and we may come up with some as we talk. This is an organic conversation, as we know. But when we think about those 4 things, and right now we're framing them as, would you invest, right? If you had the answers to the questions that your business would provide right now, would you want to put your money into your business? And I just want to say before I forget that it's probably a bit more than that, right? That's the framing of the question, but this is really your way to test the health of your business on an ongoing basis. This is an exercise. These are questions that I would ask regularly, and we certainly ask them in different ways, but to ensure that you are not going too far off the path, or that if there needs to be a change, you're making it in a thoughtful way. Because we know what's difficult, and one of the reasons for the exercise, right, especially if you are a solopreneur or running a relatively small business in terms of bodies, is that a lot of decisions are made on instinct, on gut, on little recency bias. What happened last week that pushed me in a certain direction? And these are questions that will help you avoid exactly those pitfalls.
Well, and I think a business that's worth investing in is a business that's worth running and continuing to run. I think that this question is a good way, to your point, of assessing the overall health of your business, even if you're not looking for investors, because any issues or challenges or gaps that you might identify from the vantage point of an investor are likely things that you should fix anyways to run a healthy business. Let's use a simple example. And I don't think this is one of our questions because maybe it was too obvious, but let's add it in. How profitable are you? Mm-hmm. It's kind of obvious, right? That's why we didn't have to delineate it. But now that I think about it, probably one a lot of folks are going to get stuck on for a whole bunch of reasons. One is the vast majority of consultants underpay themselves and often will inflate their business profits by taking less money out of the business or paying themselves what's, an unfair wage. Here's what we see all the time. I could command $200,000 in the market as an employee, and I run a consulting business that maybe does $200,000 in gross revenue, but I pay myself $100 and I call myself profitable. Well, are you?
Well, I think
200. Are you profitable?
Yeah, and it's not just about profitable. I think there's some funny math that happens there, because if you could command $200,000 in the marketplace and your business makes $200,000, somehow consultants decide that that's the same thing. And it couldn't be farther from the same thing. And so, you said this before, but I'll say it again. This is how you can also get really clear and recognize that you are an investor in your business, because you are investing not just your time, but, and energy, and also the time and energy of people around you, because generally speaking, especially as things are kicking off, there's uncertainty, there are sacrifices to be made. All of those things will happen. And also, if you're not drawing a full salary, you're making a bona fide financial investment into your business. So don't be fooled into thinking that that's not the case.
Yeah. And I think understanding what kind of rate you might command out in the employment market is a good thing to understand, because it gives you a measuring stick now. If I could get 200K out in the market, and I'm not taking home 200K from my business, then to your point, I am literally investing that money into my business. And if I'm taking home 150K, could be making 200, I'm investing $50,000 a year in this business. Now, I'd only do that if there was some kind of promise of future returns. Yeah. Right? No one's going to put 50K a year into a business unless there's a reason to do so. And do you have a sufficient reason? Is the upside potential significant enough to warrant the investment you're making? That's a powerful question to ask.
Absolutely. So what happens when I ask these 5 questions and the answer is not yes?
Well, you got work to do.
Yeah.
Right. And to the previous point, like, by no means am I suggesting if you're taking a $50,000 a year pay cut that you should quit your business and go get a job. But you've got to work on your strategy and your plan and get yourself to a place of belief that you will be able to earn what you'd otherwise earn in an employment setting, and then some, because business comes with risk, and employment comes with risk too, for sure. Don't get me wrong, but it's a different type of risk, right? To the extent that employment arrangement is consistent, you earn a paycheck every month, every couple of weeks. And in business, there's no such certainty. So you've got to be compensated for the risk that you take on being a business owner. So actually the 200K that you would earn in the employment market, all of a sudden not good enough, because it needs to be adjusted for the risk you take on as a business owner. Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the day, once you have your list of issues from the investment assessment, then there's work to do to get yourself to a place where you're earning the money that you'd otherwise earn, but then you're also either earning more than you would otherwise earn to adjust for the risk, or the profit potential is significant enough to adjust for the risk. In other words, I may earn my 200K, but the business profits another $50,000, $100,000 a year. That's my other form of compensation.